Whitlock all time, and now he's going to run. And he has such a burst as he gets a block from Martin. And look at this. Whitlock again down the sideline, stays and backpedals for a 50-yard touchdown. Whitlock, unbelievable.
Live from our Seton Hill University studios, this is Westmoreland on the Gridiron on the Westmoreland Sports Network. Here's your host, Sean Meyers.
And welcome into another edition of Westmoreland on the Gridiron. Sean Meyers, Dan Flickinger coming to you from Seton Hill University every Wednesday night on the Westmoreland Sports Network. Thank you so much for tuning in, whether it be live or archived. We have another jam-packed show here tonight. We'll run down all of the Week 2 scores and top performers, the always popular Plays of the Week segment, a couple of really good interviews. Matt Humbert, the head coach for the Belle Vernon area Leopards, after his team had a very impressive victory a week ago. We'll also hear from our Player of the Week, Hempfield area running back Gino, who is an absolute workhorse. And we'll look ahead to this weekend's ledger of games with the Week 3 preview. But Flick, before we get into all of that, some big takeaways, and I think nothing stands above Belle Vernon area winning convincingly against Penn Trafford. A battle of Westmoreland County heavyweights, but it goes to the 4A Leopards, 27-7 at home against the Warriors.
That was the biggest game going into the week in terms of what we thought would be the most entertaining and close game and that type of thing. I think Mount Pleasant and Greensburg-Salem was up there. We'll talk about them in a moment. But, I mean, Belle Vernon, I wouldn't say they dominated the game, but they certainly controlled it, Sean. I mean, especially after that first quarter, I thought the energy from both teams was definitely there, but it seemed like after the first quarter that maybe Belle Vernon really started taking control, and then, you know, they go out and Devin Whitlock does what he does, and man, what a front row seat for us for his show. 208 rushing yards and a couple of touchdowns make it 3 for him. He had one called back as well on a punt return, which didn't even aid in him scoring the touchdown. It was away from the ball. It was a personal foul penalty. It didn't obviously end up hurting Belle Vernon at all, but I mean, the guy just he just makes something out of nothing so often. It's like backyard football, playing with like Michael Vick back in the old Madden days or something. Just the way that he can move laterally and just turn on the speed, like you mentioned in that. It's going to be a play of the week. The scramble that he had and ran for that touchdown. You mentioned he turned on the speed and just took off and then back moonwalked into the end zone. It was fantastic to watch him do what he does. And it's so hard, Sean, for a defense to scheme against him because you just don't know what he's going to do.
Yeah, he can create plays out of nowhere. But ultimately, when you look at the victory for the Leopards, here's what it could mean potentially long-term, because this is not going to affect the playoffs, really slightly maybe with seeding purposes, 4A against 5A. But I think you look at 4A, Thomas Jefferson is always the team to beat, but I think Belle Vernon proved they belong right there in that conversation. And then in 5A, Penn Trafford loses. We've already seen Gateway lose. Pine Richland off to an uncharacteristically slow start. It seems like that entire classification might be wide open.
Yeah, I agree with you. And maybe with the exception of last year, you know, you had Pine Richland doing what it did in returning Cole Spencer and everybody that they had coming back last year. I think they were the odds-on favorite, the clear-cut favorite. But in most years, I feel like 5A is kind of wide open because there's so many good teams in Class 5A. And I think a lot of people after last week thought that Penn Trafford was the team to beat. Maybe they still are. But when you lose a game like they did to Belle Vernon, I think that's now up in the air. If you're Penn Trafford, I don't think anything – I think you have to bury that. You know, you're playing against maybe the best team in the WPIAL. Who knows, Belle Vernon this year. So you're playing against them. You know, you lose in their backyard against, again, a really good team. It's a non-conference game, so ultimately it doesn't matter a whole lot. So I think if you're Penn Trafford, you kind of go back to the drawing board. You maybe do some things to help out your passing game, which if PT trails in a game, they certainly have not shown that they can effectively throw the football against Belle Vernon. Obviously, they're going up against a good secondary, too. So I think John Ruane will add some things maybe to the passing game to make it a little bit easier for Carter Green and those guys. So I think it'll be something maybe we'll see differently from Penn Trafford coming out against a good Peters Township team. But you mentioned, Sean, 5A. I do think it's wide open, and I think that makes it entertaining for everybody.
Yeah, and I think 4A, you have some real heavyweights as well, and Belle Vernon proved that it belongs in that discussion. But maybe a team that's not quite a heavyweight in 4A, but showed that they are really improving from week to week. Greensburg-Salem, they had a tough go of it, letting one kind of slip away in week 0 against Hempfield area. That was a game that the Golden Lions led in the fourth quarter, could not close it out. They bounced back last week. And then on Friday, a 34-6 victory against Mount Pleasant area. Really impressive. The passing game continues to lead the way. Hayden Teska showing that when he is healthy, he's one of the better quarterbacks around.
Yeah, I agree. And, when you talk about who you're playing against, this is a Mount Pleasant team that came in with a ton of confidence. I know they kind of beat a couple of teams in Derry and Burrell that are down this year for sure. But when you're Greensburg-Salem, you come in throwing the football that well. I think it's one thing to run the football against the team and rack up all these rushing yards and maybe just because you're bigger up front or those types of things. But to be able to throw the ball the way that Greensburg-Salem did against Mount Pleasant, I thought that was really impressive. Teska only throws 3 incompletions, 4 touchdown passes plus a rushing touchdown. And then Cody Rubrecht has had a really good year so far. 6 catches, 154 yards, and 3 touchdowns after a big week the week before. So definitely Greensburg-Salem, it's interesting. I'll be really interested to see how they do against Knock this week, a team that they beat last year to win their 700th game. We'll see how they do in conference play. I think that these non-conference games maybe aren't the best reading of how these teams will do in conference, but I think Greensburg-Salem's off to a really good start despite losing that game to Hempfield, which they had.
And I think that you're going to see Cody Rubrecht and Hayden Teska always in the discussion amongst our statistical leaders each and every week.
And probably player of the week, too.
Yeah, deservedly so. You go back a few years, and it seemed like the Southmoreland Scotties always were in there for the top passer and receiver. You even go to the York Cougars in some of those. Well, it seems like this might be Greensburg-Salem's year to always have one of the top passers, one of the top receivers. I think that this is a team that could win some shootouts, but if they play defense like they did against the Vikings, they're going to win some games comfortably, I think, once they get into conference.
Yeah, I mean, everybody wants to talk about the offensive side, but defensively they were really impressive. And I do. That's a good point, Sean, because when you look, again, at that Mount Pleasant team, and I know who they play the first couple of weeks, but what do? They run the football. They've always been a good running team. That hasn't changed under Coach Fazekas, and Greensburg-Salem really shut them down for the most part in that game.
Running the football seemingly might be a staple of the Hempfield area Spartans now. New head coach and Mike Brown.
Caesar's Palace.
Yes, they've shifted a little bit. Rich Bowen always had great success developing quarterbacks, and you still want to develop a really good quarterback. Jake Phillips has shown some signs, but it's the Gino Caesar show right now for the Spartans, and an incredible effort in the second half by him and the line in front of him as well led them to a narrow victory as the Spartans knocked off Franklin Regional 30-28. We'll hear from Gino Caesar a little bit later, but this seems like a new approach that so far is paying dividends for Hempfield area.
Yeah, they're running the football, and the offensive line, while they may be a little bit young, obviously, to be able to run the football this much and this effective like they did against Franklin Regional, they're certainly being able to build up that cohesiveness, which certainly will help them for what is always a grueling conference schedule. But it was interesting, Mike Brown, new head coach. When you get into the thralls of the game, nothing else matters except winning. And he said after the game, I didn't really want to give Gino 39 carries. He said, actually, I kind of wanted to cut down his carries because we have conference play coming up. But when you get into a rhythm like that, when he's running the way that he is, he basically said, I have to keep feeding him the ball. I mean, when you're people say it's an exhibition game, but when you're in it, man, I mean, you got to go for the win. And that was the best way for Hempfield to win the game, just keep feeding the ball to Gino. And he just did an outstanding job. We'll be talking with him a little bit later on. But to kind of develop that cohesiveness with the offensive line, I think that'll be big for Hempfield. And, if they can show that they can run the ball, and I know they didn't run it well against Penn Trafford, and it's going to be really tough to do in conference. But I think to be able to keep those games close against the Seneca Valleys, the North Alleghenies, and those teams, you have to be able to chew the clock up a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe Hempfield will have a little more success at doing that this year than in past years.
Yeah, if they can shorten the game against some of the top teams that they'll go against, that will help their favor. And you hope that ball control is also going to be in their favor if they run it on a regular basis. But that's a big win for the Spartans. And you mentioned, okay, it's non-conference, but let's be honest, they're probably not title contenders in 6A. Getting a win against a good 5A team, especially a local rival, that might mean more than some of their 6A games, even though they probably wouldn't tell you that.
I agree with that. And, I circle back once again to having these local rivalries again. And then I know maybe Hempfield and Franklin Regional isn't a rivalry per se, but if they keep playing one another, it certainly could be. And again, kudos to the WPIAL for finally scheduling these games at the beginning of the season, not week 0, but week 1, 2, and 3, where you have non-conference opponents and non-conference kind of availability where Penn Trafford and Belle Vernon can play each other, Norwin and Latrobe can play each other, Mount Pleasant and Greensburg-Salem can play one another. Because like you said, Sean, especially for the bigger schools, Hempfield and Norwin, once they get in the conference play, it's really, really tough. So I think at the beginning of the year when you have these games against teams that are kind of more similar to them and they can really compete with, I think that's great for the communities.
Well, you mentioned 3 of the all Westmoreland County matchups. The one that you didn't mention because you knew we would be talking about it.
Sure.
Kiski area and Greater Latrobe. That was another all Westmoreland matchup. And it was another good one. It came down to the wire. The second straight week that Greater Latrobe had a fourth quarter lead that they could not close out. Give the Cavs this one 35-27. If I had told you before the season, 3 weeks in, that there would be 2 teams that were 3-0 in Westmoreland County, I don't think you would have picked Kiski area and Ligonier Valley as those 2. But the Cavaliers are at 3-0. They've had to work for some of these wins. They knocked off Butler area early. But then this is an impressive victory going on the road to Memorial Stadium to win by 1 touchdown.
It really was. I mean, and I go back to, I think I mentioned this on the show, in past weeks. I was talking with John Ruane off air before our interview at the kickoff show, and I said, how was the scrimmage against Kiski? What do you think Kiski's going to what do you think they have this year? And he said, I think they're a pretty good team this year. I think they have some really good players. And obviously when you have guys like stepping up like C.J. Hepler, Brock Wilkins goes down with an injury. I'm not sure about what his status is.
Yeah, that's big too, because we know talking to Aaron Albert at the coach's show, he said Brock Wilkins, he's going to be our guy in terms of running the football. The fact that they overcame his injury as a running back, he still played a little bit defensively. But they were able to find a way to win without arguably their best offensive player. That speaks to the resolve of this team.
And it's nice that he was able to play, as you mentioned, get some snaps defensively, because that means obviously, hopefully, is not very serious and he can go back to running the football. But when a guy like C.J. Hepler emerges, maybe that allows not as much pressure to get Brock back in there in the backfield, where you can use him, on the defensive side of the ball, allow him to rest a little bit on the sidelines until he feels 100% healthy. But he was one of our Player of the Week candidates, C.J. Chad Hepler, or maybe it's Chad C.J. Hepler. 23 carries, 161 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a big 30-yard touchdown late in the game for the Cavaliers. And, they have to be riding high right now with a big 35-27 win, and they're undefeated.
And you go on the other side of it in Greater Latrobe, it's like we're 1-2. We make maybe one more play each of those losses, and we're 3-0. Because remember, the same thing happened against Norwin. They had a fourth quarter lead. That lead was with about, I think, 3 minutes left. This one, it was a little bit earlier in the fourth that the Cavaliers pulled ahead, and then they sealed it with a late touchdown. But Jason Marucco knows if we continue to execute in the fourth quarter like this, we're going to lose a lot of heartbreakers. We have to be a little bit better during crunch time. That said, they play without their starting quarterback. That could make a difference. Yeah. They hope to get Bobby Crosby back at some point during this season.
Bobby Fetter, yeah.
Yes, my mistake. Yeah, Bobby Fetter. They had 2 different guys playing a quarterback. I think they're going to have to find ways to get creative, but we know that they have some playmakers on that offense. So I think they'll be okay. But sometimes you wonder about the team's confidence when they lose back-to-back in devastating fashion.
Yeah, I talked with Derek Molnar, Latrobe assistant coach, actually earlier this week. Actually, it was yesterday we broadcast. By the way, we'll give a shout-out to the Latrobe girls soccer team. A huge win over Norwin for the first time in
forever.
We don't even know. Over 2 decades. That's how long ago it was. I was talking with Coach Mole, as they call him, before the soccer game, and he was like, we should have won both games. He's like, we felt like, obviously, you're up the week before against Norwin, and then against Kiski area, felt like they should have won, and said that, it's certainly been, it's been tough without Bobby. He's not sure if when he's going to be available. Braden Riyad, as you mentioned, Corey Borio, both took some snaps under center. So, you get those 2 guys another week of practice, maybe things will go better, but you're going with a couple of backup quarterbacks, and you only lose 35-27. I mean, that says something about your team, I think.
Yeah.
So we'll see how the Wildcats do in obviously a very tough conference with the likes of, Penn Trafford, Gateway, and Woodland Hills.
You get the ball to Kyle Brewer. That's part of the game.
Yeah, right.
He has 3 touchdowns in all 3 of his games. You can do the quick math. 9 touchdowns so far. One of the top touchdown producers in the entire WPIAL.
We've got to give a shout-out to our boy Drake Clayton, who we talked with last week, too. He had a touchdown in the game, too.
Yeah.
So we will give him a shout.
He didn't go 200 yards
no, he
this
didn't.
time,
He
but
didn't.
he still
but we'll
found
still give
the
him a
end zone.
shout.
And he's great defensively as well. That was, I think, his calling card coming into the season was playing as a linebacker. Those are some of the biggest takeaways from this past week. We'll take a break, but when we come back, we'll run down the rest of the Week 2 scores as well as the top performers. Still to come on this show, it's Plays of the Week, an interview with Belle Vernon area head coach Matt Humbert, Gino Caesar of the Hempfield area Spartans, and a look ahead to Week 3 with our preview. That's all upcoming as we continue right here on Westmoreland on the Gridiron.
This is how far we'll go to treat heart, lung, and vascular disease. 15 millimeters. At Excella Health, we believe less can be more. That's why we use minimally invasive surgery in the treatment of coronary artery disease, heart valve repair and replacement, lung cancer, and conditions of the peripheral arteries. For our patients, that means less blood loss, less post-operative pain, and a faster recovery. It means that a disease process that took decades to develop can, in a few hours, be reversed. And for us, it means providing the most advanced and sophisticated care for patients in our region. The Heart, Lung, and Vascular Institute at Excella Health. Expert care here.
Hi, I'm Anthony D'Annunzio from D'Annunzio's Restaurants. Come visit us at one of our 3 locations, Jeanette, Monroeville, or Latrobe. We're open 7 days a week, so we've always got something cooking at D'Annunzio's. For our dine-in specials, Monday it's spaghetti. It's raviolis on Tuesday, lasagna on Wednesday, and on Thursday it's chicken parmesan or chicken romano. Visit us online at D'Annunzio'sRestaurant.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. D'Annunzio's Restaurants. It's a family tradition.
Have you or someone you know committed to play a sport at the next level? Let us know by emailing info@westmorelandsports.com so we can add you to our WSN College Commitment page. Our unique page features a list of current Westmoreland County student athletes that have made a verbal or written commitment to play a sport in college. No matter what sport at what level, our College Commitment page has you covered. Check it out next time you visit westmorelandsports.com.
And welcome back to Westmoreland on the Gridiron as we roll along here on the Westmoreland Sports Network. Sean and Dan talking high school football each and every Wednesday night. We already ran down some of the biggest takeaways from the second week of the WPIAL season. It's the third week of games for most teams, but it is officially Week 2, if you can keep track of that. Let's look
I'm thinking of the GIF, or is it GIF? Do you say GIF or GIF?
I say GIF.
I usually say GIF, but then I think it's GIF, and then I say GIF for some reason. I don't know
So
why.
say both and cover your bases.
Okay, yeah, so I just did. I think Zach Galifianakis in Hangover, when all the numbers are going around, he's cheating at the casino when you just said week 0 and everything. Anyway, continue.
Back to the show. So we'll run down the rest of the scores. We already highlighted some of these, but the good news is if you want to go back, you can watch or listen about half of the games. We continue to do great coverage each and every Friday night here on WSN, and they are all archived after the event ends. If you want to go back and watch Belle Vernon area, Penn Trafford, it's a good one. You're going to see some great highlights. The Leopards win that one 27-7. You can also watch Greensburg-Salem's impressive victory 34-6 against Mount Pleasant area. Both teams now sitting at 2-1. The other video broadcast, it was Indiana area 70, Derry area 15. The most points in program history, I read, for the Little Indians. The Trojans fall to 0-3, another tough one for Coach Skilling and crew. Hempfield area, as we mentioned, 30-28, knocking off Franklin Regional. You can go back and listen to that broadcast that came down to the wire between a couple of county teams. Here's a result that I think was, pretty impressive. Norwin 37, Connellsville area 0. 37 points. Okay, you figured they'd have some success. They have some pretty talented players. But shutting out the Falcons, that bodes well for the Knights entering conference play.
Yeah, I think so. Anytime you go again into this conference where you're going to be facing so many good teams, and let's be honest, the Knights haven't had a ton of success in 6A, and neither has Hempfield. It's nice to be able to get that cushion, get that confidence rolling into conference play, especially after maybe not your best defensive performance against Latrobe. Now you shut out Connellsville, and hopefully you're rolling on that side of the ball.
Speaking of shutouts, that's exactly what Ligonier Valley did against Jeanette. You can go back and listen to that one as well. If you're a fan of the Rams, you probably want to do that. Another impressive showing by Roger Beidle's squad, 55-0 against the Jayhawks. As we mentioned earlier, Ligonier Valley now 3-0, joining Kiski area as the only teams who are 3-0 in Westmoreland County. Jeanette, unbelievably 0-3, has still not scored a touchdown. So we'll see if things maybe get a little bit better for the Jayhawks when they begin conference play.
Some injuries, unfortunately, too, Sean. It's not going to make it any easier.
The numbers that they have to begin with were down, and then when you factor in injuries, it could get real ugly for the Jayhawks. You hope, if nothing else, they're able just to continue and play all of these games throughout the season.
I do want to mention real quick, Jeanette's Hall of Fame. I don't know if it's this weekend, but it's coming up. And Brent and Anthony are actually going to be talking with a few Hall of Famers on the broadcast this Friday. They play Riverview. They usually have a lot of success against them, so I would imagine this is a game where hopefully Jeanette can, compete in this game. So tune in for the broadcast. We're also going to try to get those on video as well. We can put on our YouTube page.
Other Westmoreland County scores. Highlands improves to 3-0, knocking off Burrell 56-7. Rough start for the Bucks. They are now 0-3 on the campaign. As are the Yawk Cougars. They fell to Trinity 41-6. Greensburg Central Catholic, its second straight victory, 33-7 against Apollo Ridge. An Apollo Ridge team that was really good a year ago now falls to 0-3 on the season. Greensburg Central Catholic, they have some real talented, skilled players, and we saw that on full display. I don't know if you saw the highlight or not. An incredible catch by Amari
I did see
Mack.
that, yes.
They used two different guys. The quarterback, I think they're still trying to find where everyone fits because they have so many new pieces, but the talent is there.
Well, let's roll that video right now as you see the great catch by Amari Mack. And, he is someone that, again, started at Jeanette, now at Greensburg Central Catholic, was injured last year, and just to watch that catch was definitely something to behold. That was a terrific grab by Amari Mack.
And great job by our producer having that video ready.
Look how quick that
well.
was. Quick that was.
A game that took place last Thursday, Southmoreland 35, Perry Traditional Academy 20. The Scotties now 2-1. That's a Perry team that has arguably the best college prospect in Western Pennsylvania among the senior class. So that's a good one for the Scotties to get that victory. And again, they look to be potentially a team that can make some noise in 3A. Shadyside Academy 36, Valley 9 as the Vikings drop to 0-3. But Monessen off the snide as the Greyhounds get their first victory in a few years, courtesy of a 24-6 win against Charleroi. That's a local rivalry. Good to see the Greyhounds get a win after they really struggled a year ago and dropped their first two games this year. And I know we're not quite to that point with some of the other winless teams because, again, Monessen did not win at all last year and had to forfeit some games. But anytime players get the first win in their high school careers, that's meaningful.
That's something you don't forget. And, again, it's a case of where it might not be the season that you want or anything like that, even though it's still early for sure for them. But, you're going to remember that for a long time to get that first win.
And we have a couple of college scores that went in favor of the Westmoreland County schools. Seton Hill does it again, almost identical to their first game against Wheeling. Great defensive effort. They needed every bit of it in a 13-7 win against Bloomsburg University. The Griffins now 2-0 to start the season. And St. Vincent 34, Bluffton University 14. So the Bearcats win their season opener on the road. So we are combined 3-0 for the college teams here on the football field.
Yeah, that's awesome to see. Love Aaron Smetanka, what he's doing at St. Vincent, and obviously Dan Day, what he's doing at Seton Hill. Man, we keep saying every week, well, the Griffins aren't going to win if they turn the ball over 5 times, and they did it again. They won again.
I'm willing to say they will not win this week.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Bloomsburg maybe not as good as they've been, traditionally, but still, a win is a win for this Seton Hill program. I'm not taking anything away from them, but they go up against a Kutztown team this week that nearly beat IUP last week. Now, IUP was without some starters, but still went down to the wire. IUP had actually come back to win that game. I think it was by 3 points. So you're going on the road, long road trip. It'll certainly be a challenge, but man, just a bunch of ballers on that defensive side of the ball for Seton Hill. It's been incredible.
And now you kind of find out how good you really are when you go against some of the heavyweights of the PSAC, and that'll be the case this upcoming week. Let's now take a look at the top performers from week 2 along Westmoreland County. And the way that we do this is the top passer in the entire WPIAL, and then the nearest Westmoreland County standouts will do the same for rushing and receiving. The top passer this past week, 288 yards for Bethel Park's Max Blank, or I guess Blanc if you want to go with the French.
Why didn't you say his last name? I'm saying Max Blank.
That is his last name.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
good one. 14 of 29 for 288 yards for Max and Bethel Park. Not too far behind as Westmoreland County's own Hayden Teska, 246 yards. Greensburg-Salem's QB, 11 of 14. As I mentioned, I think he's going to be on this list quite a bit throughout the 2021 campaign. Logan Johnson of Kiski area goes 12 of 16, 171 yards in the Cavs' last-second victory. Monessen gets on the board with their first win, 6 of 12 passing, 151 yards for Lorenzo Gardner in the victory for the Greyhounds. Hayden Siraki does it again for Ligonier Valley, efficient, 8 of 13, 136 yards. And Hempfield area's quarterback Jake Phillips goes 9 of 14 for 118 yards in the Spartans' narrow win. The top rusher in the WPIAL from this past week, Jamar Pearson of Stowe Rocks, 263 yards to lead the way. But there was a couple of 200-yard rushers right here in Westmoreland County. We're going to hear from him a little bit later. Gino Caesar of Hempfield area, 215 yards, very deserving of our Player of the Week. Just behind him, Devin Whitlock, a quarterback, goes for 200-plus on the ground for the Leopards. Kiski area's C.J. Hepler, we mentioned him before, 136 yards in relief duty, if you will, after the injury to Brock Wilkins. Nick Beidel of Ligonier Valley, 129 yards. And Anthony Cruz of Monessen, 121 on the ground. Lastly, the top receiver in the WPIAL, Chartiers Valley's Abe Ibrahim, 9 receptions, 229 yards. Just an incredible total for him. Behind him, Cody Rubrek of Greensburg-Salem, 6 catches, 154 yards. Aiden Hudock of Franklin Regional, just 2 catches, but 132 yards. And Calvin Heinley of Kiski area, 5 catches for 107 yards to round out the top receivers in Westmoreland County.
I don't want to tell Jonathan how to do his job, but I would start calling Aiden Hudock Big Play Hudock. I mean, he returns kicks for touchdowns. He only has 2 catches, but they go for 132 yards.
Big plays.
He has been certainly a big-time player for Franklin Regional so far this season. Hey, I just want to pass this along real quick. See, ask and we shall receive. Anthony D'Annunzio just sent me a text message. It indeed is the Hall of Fame weekend this weekend for Jeanette. So we'll have the celebration on Friday at the football game, and then there will be a banquet on Saturday. And the inductees include Maurice Chamberlain from 1984. I'm sorry if I mispronounce any of these names. Ed Krizak from 1972. Jenna Lee Morrison from 05. Jermaine Morgan, 1990. Kayla Cook from 2010. I remember her. Larry Hall from 2004. Maria D'Annunzio, a 2000 graduate. Marcus Clarkson, some people may know that name, 1992, of course, baseball. Robert Murphy, former athletic director and coach, and also the team that will be inducted into the Jeanette Hall of Fame, the 1983 Whitfield Championship football team. And also, there's a Legends category, Sean. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Is Anthony D'Annunzio going into that? He's
he
a
will,
legend in the
will
making.
At some point, yeah. 1932 football team, the 1939 football team. And I'm sure there will be a lot of talk about Coach Mucci as well, who unfortunately passed away not long ago. So I'm sure they'll be talking about him a lot, and we just wanted to pass along, what's going on, because there's so much tradition there at Jeanette, and should be a great week. Great weekend for Jeanette football and celebrating the Hall of Famers.
Absolutely. That'll do it for the Week 2 scores. We'll take a break. When we come back, the always popular Plays of the Week segment. You want to stick around for that. We will have a half dozen plays featured here this week. That's upcoming as we continue on Westmoreland on the Gridiron.
Your next golf adventure awaits at Manor Valley Golf Course in Export. Manor Valley offers 18 scenic holes over gentle sloping fairways and the purest putting surfaces around. Manor Valley Golf Course in Export is the perfect place to host your next golf outing, banquet party, or shower. Manor Valley also offers league play and great membership rates. Tee times available. Call 724-744-4242. Visit ManorValleyGC.com.
At Sendell Mitsubishi, buying your new vehicle is as easy as stop, shop, and roll. Stop wasting time in the dealership. Shop online in just a few easy steps. Roll on home in your new Mitsubishi or have it delivered to your door. SendellMitsubishi.com. At Sendell Volkswagen, buying your new vehicle is as easy as stop, shop, and roll. Stop wasting time in the dealership. Shop online in just a few easy steps. Roll on home in your new Volkswagen or have it delivered to your door. SendellVolkswagen.com.
If I had to pick one thing that I would do over and over again from a business perspective, it would be locating in Westmoreland County. People here are very talented. They're great, hardworking people. It's an excellent place to own a business.
The Westmoreland County Chamber of Commerce has given us the ability to network with other businesses here within the county, brought us great exposure within the county and in neighboring areas, and we've really seen it add to the diversity of our client base.
As we roll along here on Westmoreland on the Gridiron, Sean and Dan talking Westmoreland County High School football each and every Wednesday, 7 p.m. right here on WSN. And Flick, are you ready?
What kind of question is that, Sean? Really?
I know you're ready.
Of course I'm ready.
Everyone at home, I hope you're ready. It is now time for Plays of the Week.
He's just excited because he gets to lead it off.
Indeed, I do. We begin, as Flick alluded to, with Belle Vernon area and Leopards quarterback Devin Whitlock. He was spectacular all night in the win against Penn Trafford, but one long touchdown stood above the rest as he showed his creativity to give the Leopards a second quarter lead that they would never relinquish. Myself and Jack Ridenauer have the call. As sunset begins to come across James Weir Stadium and the beach. Whitlock all time, and now he's going to run. And he has such a burst as he gets a block from Martin, and look at this. Whitlock again down the sideline, stays and backpedals for a 50-yard touchdown. Whitlock, unbelievable.
A relentless run by number one, able to just bounce off tackles, and again, Penn Trafford giving him so much time, a little deep cross route that the receivers ran. Couldn't find anybody open, but just look at this protection and look at all of this space that he has, working with so much free real estate, finding a hole, and then Tarabrella trying to keep up with him, but actually it seemed like he tripped up on Mattis. He couldn't quite catch up to him.
How about the moonwalk into the end zone after he absorbed a hit?
It might have been a little bit of a flashy play there. Green tried to wrap him up, went a little too high on the tackle, and I'm sure Whitlock might have had something to say to the defense as he backpedaled into the end zone.
The moonwalk, Sean. The moonwalk into the end zone.
I would put that top 10 of touchdowns that I've called in my career.
That was pretty cool. I mean, yeah, that's definitely a memorable one. But that's something that Whitlock does as he rolls out of bed, probably.
Yes.
It was like nothing to him.
Yes. And I think for you and I, first time we've seen him live playing football.
Yeah.
So I've seen him play basketball before, but just spectacular. He lived up to the billing, and I think even exceeded it. So if he continues to do that, I don't know if any team's going to be able to stop him.
And he's a kid that doesn't have a ton of size. He's just, the athleticism is just off the charts.
If he did have more size, he would have offers from every school in the country,
Yeah,
I would say. We continue plays of the week with Greensburg-Salem. The Golden Lions, they impressed against Mount Pleasant, and the passing game was a huge part of that. Greensburg-Salem took a 2-score lead in the second quarter on a connection between Hayden Teska and Donovan Waller, as detailed by TJ DeStefano and Chris Smith.
Spreading things out here, 2 receivers each way. Teska to the right side. Pass is caught at the 50 and still running with the football down to the 30, 25, 15, 10, 5, and a touchdown for Greensburg-Salem. That's Donovan Waller. And now 3 pass plays, Chris. This one to Waller and Greensburg-Salem just like that, 20-6.
Nice piece of running there by Waller, the 6'3", 170-pound senior. Took the pass. I don't know what's going on with coverage. I have no idea what's going on with this Viking defensive backfield, but these guys are out there running. I'm pretty sure I could have scored. I don't know if I could have did the little, the little dive and juke there, but I certainly could have been wide open as the extra point is up, and it is good. Like that, TJ. 21-6.
Great catch by the other receiver for Greensburg-Salem. We mentioned so much about Cody Rubrek. Donovan Waller, very big target and a good athlete as well. Seen him play on the hardwood. He's showing his ability on the gridiron for what should be a very good offense.
He's a waiver wire guy if you're a high school football fantasy guy. I don't know anyone that is.
Pick him
but
up.
if you are, pick him up.
Absolutely. We continue plays of the week with Norwin as the Knights made quick work of Connellsville area, propelled by a strong first quarter. Among the key plays early was a touchdown run by Dom Barca that put Norwin ahead 16-0 as Dave Franzak and Tim McCabe paint the picture.
1st and 10 from the 26. Barca goes right side across the 20 to the 10, sidesteps a man, touchdown Norwin. 26 yards out goes Dom Barca, and the Knights are back on the board.
Just a quick off tackle hitter. They went on, not on balance, but a tight end and flanker once again into the boundary, sort of putting Connellsville in a quandary, and outmanned at the line of scrimmage. Barca cuts it up back, and an easy 26-yard gallop into the end zone. So good play call, good execution from the Knights.
It was great to see Dom Barca score a touchdown there, Sean. I mean, they're really trying to get that running game going. Luke Lewandowski said when we talked with them on our camp previews, we want to get this running game going, and maybe they were able to do that with a little more success against Connellsville.
Yeah, and if they get the running game going, it's going to help Lewandowski hopefully get some more room, and if you want to go play action or anything, good running game is the best friend to any quarterback. Franklin Regional, the Panthers, ultimately, they came up short against Hempfield area, but they produced their share of highlight plays, including a long pass from Caden Smith. That's right, Caden Smith throwing to Aiden Hudock to stake them to a 2-score lead in the second quarter, as called by Jonathan Whaley.
Panthers this time will have the receivers bunched to the near side. Smith from the Wildcat. They want to get that inside Utah pass, and he breaks it to the 20, to the 30, to the 40, to the 50. He's going to go all the way. 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown, 85 yards on the old Utah pass. Caden Smith. It was Aiden Udock. I talked about him earlier, making plays as a receiver. 85-yard catch and run. And that was mostly 85 yards on him running. The old smart Utah pass, 85 yards.
Okay, so that was a great play for Franklin Regional, but not quite enough because, as we'll find out momentarily, it was the Hempfield area Spartans who broke a fourth-quarter tie on special teams. Blocking the Franklin Regional punt, it was newcomer Eli Benikoski who blocked it and then did the rest. The score and the subsequent 2-point conversion proved to be the difference in their narrow win, as detailed once again by J.W.
And that's going to force the punt. So on 3rd and 3, the Panthers give up the penetration, and it should be a punt here. Although Hempfield's not playing at the punt, but I got to think they will punt. And it is a rugby-style punt, and that's going to be blocked. Picked up at the 20, 10, 5, touchdown. The the punt is blocked, kicked up at the 20, and the blocked punt returned 20 yards by Elijah Minikowski before the Jeanette Jayhawk. 20 yards, touchdown, return on blocked punt.
You know, Eli getting adjusted to 6A football, he was such a big part of the Jeanette State run last year. Of course, the Whitfield Championship last year. He transfers to Hempfield, a place where he's wrestled the last couple of years with that co-op between Jeanette and Hempfield. And so I think he keeps getting better and better at this level.
Yeah, he's making an impact. GCC got some good production. Ryan Kimmel, Jaden Kennedy. So the former Jayhawks, for the most part, doing well in their new spots. That's it for the high school version, but we are not done here with Plays of the Week as we wrap up with Seton Hill, and the Griffins once again relied on their defense to prevail in a low-scoring game. Bloomsburg had fourth down inside the Seton Hill red zone late in the fourth quarter, but Seton Hill provided the clinching play in the win. Myself and TJ DeStefano provide the captions. Everyone fired up here at Off the Griffins, looking to have their defense come up big one more time. Back to pass is Rice. Under pressure, he's brought down. Jaden Everton Gaines on what should be a game-ending sack.
Once again, Sean, how many times have we said it tonight and last week? The defense comes through at a critical time. And as you said, that is probably the game right there. And none other, and who better to do it than Jaden Emberton Gaines.
Hey, TJ, how about it?
They call Jaden Emberton Gaines Uno because
number one.
Obviously that's his number. But an interesting story behind that is that Dan Day gives, and I guess the coaching staff kind of talks about this, I don't know if the players voted on it or not, their best leader that number, and it changes every year. It could be if one guy gets it one year. Logan Weiland actually had it last year, and then it's Jaden Emberton Gaines this year. So things could change from year to year. They give it to their top leader, and I think that's pretty cool. Whatever your number was, it's now number one, and all the guys look up to you. And Jaden Emberton Gaines, I mean, I'm not surprised all the guys look up to him. What a play that he made on that fourth down, and he was everywhere all game.
Yeah, and I think we knew the linebackers would be the strength of this team. So far, we haven't seen the entire conference, but I would say their linebackers are probably as good as any in the entire PSAC.
Yeah, I'd match them up against anyone, that's for sure.
And that will do it for another great edition of Plays of the Week. Flick, you can tell the people, though, if they're not watching right now or if they want to check it again, they could do so. You have the Plays of the Week cut down on our YouTube channel.
Yes. First of all, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'd love to have you. That way, if you're subscribed, you'll see notifications on your computer, maybe your phone that say, hey, WSN just added a new video. So please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'd love to have you do that. We have great content on there. But indeed, our Plays of the Week from this very show are cut and put on to our YouTube channel. So if you just want to watch the Plays of the Week and you don't want to hear Sean and I babble, you can do that. Well, we'd love to have you babble or hear us babble too on the Gridiron Show.
Yeah, so they can babble, we can babble.
Yeah, we can all babble.
We'll take anything that we can get at this point.
What just happened? I don't know. YouTube, Westmoreland Sports Network.
That'll do it for another edition of Plays of the Week. We'll step aside, but when we return here on Westmoreland on the Gridiron, I had a chance to talk to Belle Vernon area head coach Matt Humbert to talk about his team's great victory against Penn Trafford and what's upcoming the rest of the way. That's as we roll along right here on Westmoreland on the Gridiron.
For over 30 years, people have looked to us to be experts in orthopedic and sports physical therapy. And that is true. What a lot of people don't know is that we cover the gamut of age and condition to offer physical therapy in a number of different ways. We have specialists in hand therapy, concussion management, vestibular imbalance disorders, and total joint replacement. We transform lives every day.
Our focus is on your result. East Suburban Sports Medicine. Take it from me, Bill Hillgrove. It's the best care.
You're always on the winning team with Bowser Chevrolet of Monroeville and Bowser Chevrolet Chippewa. Visit BowserChevrolet.com 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and get the power of Bowser in your hands. With the new Chevy vehicles arriving weekly, reserve yours now at Bowser Chevrolet. See the full lineup of Chevy cars, trucks, and SUVs at BowserChevrolet.com. Bowser Chevrolet, where the power of Bowser is yours.
We continue here on the pregame show on the Westmoreland Sports Network. I'm now joined by the head coach for the Belle Vernon area Leopards, Matt Humbert. Coach, thank you for doing this, and we're glad to be broadcasting this game here tonight at the beach. Very exciting, although it is a non-conference 4A versus 5A. It seems like one of the better matchups this year. What's the excitement level around Belle Vernon heading into this matchup?
Well, I think, the kickoff to the year, anytime you have the excitement with the community and whatnot, I think there's more of an excitement this year just because, knock on wood, we are kind of having a more return to normalcy with last year and all of the COVID stuff that was going on. So a lot of excitement. I think the kids are obviously pumped up, ready to go to the community as well. And we're excited to be playing, a non-conference game against a solid Westmoreland County opponent.
A lot of teams opted to play that Week 0 game. You were the only Westmoreland County team that used the second scrimmage, but it didn't seem like it hurt you in any way last week. A very impressive victory to open the season against Chartiers Valley. What did you see from your team's performance?
What we saw was kind of what we expected. I think we know who we are. Every team, when you sit down and evaluate, you kind of look at what your strengths and what your weaknesses is. And I think our strengths kind of showcased there. And I think, some of the different negatives that we've seen over the past two scrimmages, I think we took a step forward in coming to remedy those. We were able to just see consistency. I think that's the biggest thing that we saw from those two scrimmages to our first actual football game where live bullets are flying.
And going against a Chartiers Valley team that's pretty talented in its own right and a team that you defeated previously in the playoffs, what was it like going against a team that you had just faced the prior year in postseason action?
It was familiar. We kind of know who they are, and ironically, we not only just went against them last year in the first round of playoffs, we scrimmaged them last year as well. So, that's kind of three competitive contests within the last year. So it was very familiar. We kind of know them and what they do, and what they do offensively and defensively. Pretty much stayed true when we saw them last Friday, and they got some talented kids, and Dan Knaus does a great job with that program over there, and offensively they make you stay disciplined because they love to run a certain type of option, and they keep you on your toes.
I'm guessing that the Colts are sick of seeing Devin Whitlock by now. He was terrific once again as a runner, as a passer, defensively making an impact as well. Everyone knows that he's put up big numbers throughout his entire high school career, but what have you seen in terms of his development as a leader this year?
He's just that guy that, he's electrifying. He's a playmaker. He's a human highlight reel. But I think the other side of the coin to it is he's just a very coachable, kind of humble kid. And what I've seen this far this year is just him take that next step and, just not being an athletic football player, but more of a kind of a commander and a presence from a leadership standpoint, especially in the huddle. He is the quarterback. So, him being able to verbalize some of the lengthier play calls and him being able to kind of, have more of a command and more of a strong presence on what we do offensively this year, that's definitely shown his maturity, his growth, and really his intelligence for the game.
Here on the pregame show, Sean Meyers talking to Matt Humbert, the head coach for the Belle Vernon area Leopards. We talk about Devin Whitlock. He's one of the headliners. The other is Quentin Martin, and I think a lot of people have heard his name because he is a major recruit, one of the top players among the entire sophomore class throughout the country. For those maybe tuning in to see him for the first time, what should they be looking for? What are his best attributes?
Well, ironically enough, his best attributes are stuff that you won't see on film, stuff that you won't see when he's on the field. When you see him on the field, you're going to see a very athletic, talented football player that can stretch a field vertically, can stretch a field laterally, and you're going to see a really tough kid as well. He's a lean, tall kid, but, he's extremely tough and he's extremely durable. But the things that you won't see are just like kind of Devin, the coachability, the positive attitude, his just down-to-earth persona. And I think that's one thing that doesn't get enough credit when it comes to those two guys. Those two guys get a lot of hype, and rightfully so they should. But, they're truly team guys. You come to a practice and it doesn't seem like there's one guy that has this or one guy that got all these. They blend in with the crowd because they're team first kids.
I know that you and your team certainly had to focus on tonight's matchup, because if you look ahead, it's probably not going to work out well in your favor going against such a good team. But everyone knows that the Leopards have been awfully close to winning a championship, making it to the semifinals a year ago, playing for a championship previously. Is it a championship or bust mentality for this team this year?
Yeah, I think, we've been in the semifinals, I want to say like 4 of the past 5 years, and then obviously Whitfield Championship appearance in 19. I think it's just been chipping away since, 14, 15, and just chip, and, the proverbial kicking the door down finally by those kids in 19 and us not being able to make it past the semifinals last year. I really think, everyone's geared up for that. But then everyone's geared up in understanding that, all of those long-term goals don't really come unless you can master those short-term goals. So, with the way the world is and the craziness that we lived through in 2020, I think the kids don't really take anything for granted. And I think we are just, excited to live in the moment and, preparing against Penn Trafford will cause you to live in the moment and really not look forward to them, because they're just a really, really good football team.
And continuing on that point, what stands out about the Warriors?
Their discipline. I think that they are a very extremely disciplined football team, and that's a credit to their kids and a credit to their coaches. They're big, they're physical. That's our type of brand of football, and they definitely will be able to, line up and match that. So they're just a big physical football team that doesn't really have many deficiencies. They're just really solid in every aspect that they do, and they're tough.
Lastly, what will be key to victory tonight against Penn Trafford?
The key is just going to be us being able to, stop their run. I don't think there's any secret what they like to do. I mean, they have a certain brand on football of what they like to do and running football. So we got to be able to, limit the big splash plays. I think every play, first play from the line of scrimmage that they've won against the past 2 weeks has been a big splash play for a touchdown or 6 points. So, we gotta make sure that we don't have any artery blowing splash plays, but then we also want to make sure that we don't have the defense out there just with them grinding up, long possession drives. We want to try to get them off the field, and we want to try to, kind of stalemate their run. But that's a challenge because, like I said, they're tough, they're physical, well coached, and very disciplined.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time, and good luck tonight.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to having you guys down.
That's Matt Humbert, the head coach for the Belle Vernon area Leopards, right here on the Westmoreland Sports Network.
This is Sean Meyers. And this is Dan Flickinger. Join us every Wednesday night throughout the season for Westmoreland on the Gridiron.
We discuss the biggest news involving Westmoreland County and WPIAL football, break down all of the games with our Westmoreland Sports Network announcers, plus we're joined every week by local players and coaches.
And of course, everyone's favorite segment, the Plays of the Week.
10-5, goal line! Touchdown!
That's Westmoreland on the Gridiron every Wednesday at 7 p.m. only on the Westmoreland Sports Network.
The most incredible machine ever created didn't come with replacement parts. Until now. Rebuilding the human body takes skill, not just science. Some of the region's most accomplished orthopedists are right here at Excella Health. Our team of specialists are using non-surgical treatments, minimally invasive procedures, and the most sophisticated and complex surgical techniques to restore all aspects of human motion.
All right.
Whether you walk or fly. Orthopedics at Excella Health. Expert care begins here.
Stay up to date on the latest happenings in Westmoreland County sports in our Westmoreland Sports Notebook every Monday on westmorelandsports.com. We take a look back at the week that was in Westmoreland County sports with any news you may have missed during the week, like updates for high school football, soccer, and volleyball, area coaching changes, individual accomplishments, and so much more. Grab some coffee and start your week with our Westmoreland Sports Notebook every Monday this fall on westmorelandsports.com. Welcome back to Westmoreland on the Gridiron. We thank Matt Humbert of the Belle Vernon area Leopards. Glad to really add to our coverage of Belle Vernon this year, and it seems like a good year for it, right? I mean, this is a terrific team. Always enjoyed talking to Coach Humbert. He's getting used to me calling and texting him all the time now, right, like the other coaches in Westmoreland.
Maybe they don't want
County.
our coverage now, so we bug them all the time.
We'll just keep bugging him, but certainly well-deserved and great to hear from him, and really him giving a shout-out to the other guys, if you will. Everyone knows the headliners, but
exactly
an opportunity for him to talk about the other guys who'd maybe kind of do it under the radar for Belle Vernon, because you're not going to beat a team like Penn Trafford with just one or two guys. You need all 11 on both sides of the football contributing. Certainly that's exactly what we saw. That's one interview. We'll have another one coming up momentarily with Gino Caesar of Hempfield area. Big game for him. He was chosen as our player of the week, and the fans had the ultimate say.
The fans had the ultimate say. We had a ton of votes this week, over 3,200 votes cast, and Gino Caesar got 36% of the vote. It was a closer vote this week for sure. Hayden Teska got 30% of the vote. C.J. Hepler, 23%, and Devin Whitlock was right there as well. So we certainly had some great candidates this week. I think it was very interesting. You know, you just look at the stats and you say, okay, well, you know, this guy did well, that guy did well, but when you really dive into it a little further, the way that C.J. Hepler stepped up for Brock Wilkins, who was, again, injured in the game early, I think that makes his performance even more impressive. The fact that Devin Whitlock did it against Penn Trafford makes it more impressive, and the fact that Gino Caesar ran 39 times in the game. He's not used to work that workload, obviously. I think that makes it more impressive, too. So congratulations to all the nominees this week, Hayden Teska, Devin Whitlock, C.J. Hepler, and Gino Caesar, our player of the week.
Yeah, Gino, well-deserved. Hopefully deserved a ice bath after that performance as well. He was probably awfully sore, but it feels a little bit better when you lead your team to a victory.
We'll ask him about the ice bath.
Absolutely. That's upcoming as our Dan Flickinger talks to Gino Caesar of Hempfield area, as we continue here on Westmoreland on the Gridiron.
Hi, I'm Anthony D'Annunzio from D'Annunzio's Restaurants. Come visit us at one of our 3 locations, Jeanette, Monroeville, or Latrobe. We're open 7 days a week, so we've always got something cooking at D'Annunzio's. For our dine-in specials, Monday it's spaghetti. It's raviolis on Tuesday, lasagna on Wednesday, and on Thursday it's chicken parmesan or chicken romano. Visit us online at D'Annunzio'sRestaurant.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. D'Annunzio's Restaurants. It's a family tradition.
For over 30 years, people have looked to us to be experts in orthopedic and sports physical therapy. And that is true. What a lot of people don't know is that we cover the gamut of age and condition to offer physical therapy in a number of different ways. We have specialists in hand therapy, concussion management, vestibular imbalance disorders, and total joint replacement. We transform lives every day.
Our focus is on your result. East Suburban Sports Medicine. Take it from me, Bill Hillgrove. It's the best care.
Your next golf adventure awaits at Manor Valley Golf Course in Export. Manor Valley offers 18 scenic holes over gentle sloping fairways and the purest putting surfaces around. Manor Valley Golf Course in Export is the perfect place to host your next golf outing, banquet party, or shower. Manor Valley also offers league play and great membership rates. Tee times available. Call 724-744-4242. Visit ManorValleyGC.com.
At Sunbelt Mitsubishi, buying your new vehicle is as easy as stop, shop, and roll. Stop wasting time in the dealership. Shop online in just a few easy steps. Roll on home in your new Mitsubishi or have it delivered to your door. SendelMitsubishi.com. At Sendel Volkswagen, buying your new vehicle is as easy as stop, shop, and roll. Stop wasting time in the dealership. Shop online in just a few easy steps. Roll on home in your new Volkswagen or have it delivered to your door. SendelVolkswagen.com.
Welcome back to Westmoreland on the Gridiron. We continue, and we are very proud to welcome our Westmoreland Sports Network Week 2 Player of the Week, Gino Caesar from the Hempfield area Spartans. What a game for Gino last week, as he was able to lead his team to a victory against the Franklin Regional Panthers. 39 carries, 215 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Congratulations, Gino. Thank you so much for taking some time out to join us tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Gino, first of all, wow. Have you recovered yet? 39 carries. I'm sure you slept pretty well on Friday night.
I mean, the last few days I've been a little bit sore still, but, I mean, today I feel better. I'll be ready for Friday.
Well, yeah, 39 carries is a heck of a workload. Were you more tired and sore the next day, like on Saturday, would you say?
Honestly, I was more sore Sunday rather than Saturday. I mean, I slept really good Saturday night, and I just felt it the next day.
So 39 carries during the game. I know it's not always something you know, like how many carries you had during the game. Were you surprised when you found out maybe after the game the next day that you had 39 carries?
Yeah, I mean, I knew I had a lot during the game, but when Coach came up to me after and was like, "You had 39 carries," I really didn't believe him at first. Then I thought about it for a second. I was like, "Wow."
Do you feel like you guys, as a running game, and you in particular, do you feel like you got stronger as the game wore on?
I mean, coming out of halftime, I wasn't really tired. I mean, I was winded at times in the second half, but I mean, credit to the O-line, they blocked good.
Obviously, the running game has to be working in order to have that many carries. Why were you guys so effective on the ground against Franklin Regional?
I mean, like I said, it was just our O-line up front. I mean, they blocked great, and they were opening holes for me and stuff.
So Franklin Regional connects for a passing touchdown late in the game. Just over 3 minutes left. They go for 2, and they don't get it, but they still had some time left, down 30-28, to maybe get the ball back and get a field goal or something. So what was kind of going through your mind knowing that you had the chance to run the clock out, which you did?
First thing that came to my mind was ball security. I mean, I knew I had to hold on the ball. I couldn't make any turnovers, and we just ran the clock out on them.
Speaking of turnovers, you guys did turn the ball over 4 times during the game. Was that addressed in practice this week? And if so, what did you guys kind of do this week to try to limit those here coming up against Seneca Valley?
Yeah, I mean, coaches addressed it during practice this week. I mean, we can't win games turning over the ball that much. I mean, as an offense, it's just something we got to work on better, and I mean, we can't turn over the ball like that anymore.
Is it more of a mental thing, Gino, or did you guys do anything physically this week to kind of work on that?
It's more of a mental thing.
Mm-hmm.
Our quarterback was throwing good balls. I mean, they just made some good plays, honestly.
Gino, tell us a little bit about your running style. What type of running back is Gino Caesar? Give us kind of an idea.
I mean, I consider myself more of like a power back. I just get downhill and get the yards I need.
We've talked to a few of our Player of the Week winners this week just about how crazy it's been this year, actually getting to play in front of people. I know it was so strange last year. You know, you didn't have many fans in the stands, not many band members, cheerleaders, and all that, but there's been some big crowds for you at home and then, of course, at Penn Trafford as well. What's that been like?
I mean, it really hasn't affected me that much. I mean, I like playing in front of a crowd, honestly, especially now compared to, like you said, last year. We didn't really have anyone in the stands.
Is that something you fed off of, though? I mean, do you enjoy that, having that kind of atmosphere?
Yeah, definitely. I enjoy the atmosphere.
So Mike Brown, the new head coach, what's it like playing for him and his staff? When you came into training camp and all the off-season things you did, now you're into the season. What's it like playing for him?
I mean, playing for Coach Brown and the staff in general is great. I mean, they bring lots of energy. I mean, they give us lots of knowledge of what we need to know about the game. I mean, they're really trying to turn the program around, but ultimately it just comes down to us performing to their expectations. And as a team, we're taking the coaching and getting better every day. And that's what Coach has been preaching since day one, since he got there, is get better every day.
Yep, just keep getting better. Now, you guys will open conference play this week against Seneca Valley. When you look at them on film, Gino, from your perspective, what do they kind of do, and what do you guys need to do well to come out with a win on Friday?
We definitely need it. We need to be ready. Seneca's, they're a physical team, and we got to match that.
Is there anything else specific that they do that you kind of got to be aware of?
we've been game planning for them in practice. They run a lot of like screens and stuff. Got to be ready for those plays.
All right, that is Gino Caesar from the Hempfield area Spartans as Hempfield gets set to take on Seneca Valley. He is our Week 2 Westmoreland Sports Network Player of the Week. We'll leave you with our quick 6 questions. Are you ready for these, Mr. Caesar?
Yep.
All right, let's do it. Now, if you're not playing football, what do you enjoy doing for fun?
I mean, I'm always golfing when I'm not playing football.
Oh, what's your course?
Manor Valley, probably.
Ah, yes, one of our great sponsors. Attaboy, Gino, I like it. I love Manor Valley. It's a nice open course. Vince does a great job with it, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
What's your best score? Do you know off the top of your head?
No, I do not.
Yeah,
not very good, though.
Me neither. Mine's over 100. It's still fun, though. It's definitely still fun. If you could change one role in football, what would it be? Is there a role that you kind of say, man, I wish it wouldn't be this way?
I think the role about the 10 advisors, how you have to have a clear one.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should change that rule to being allowed to wear 10 advisors.
What is your favorite pregame meal?
Definitely chicken and rice.
How about your favorite show on Netflix?
Definitely Last Chance U.
Well, that's a good one. A lot of kids like that for sure. Now, if you could, let me ask you this question. If you could go on a date with one celebrity, who would it be?
Definitely Addison Rae.
Now, for those that don't know who Addison Rae is, kind of enlighten some people.
She's like a TikTok star.
Mm-hmm.
She makes a lot of content on there.
And that's how she became popular. So, one final question, Gino. Who has had the biggest influence on you in your life, would you say?
Definitely my brother. He pushes me to do everything. I mean, he's older than me. I mean, he's made me a tougher kid in general.
Gino, this was great. Thank you so much for your time. Good luck against Seneca Valley. And again, congratulations. And are you ready for 39 more carries if they need you?
Yeah, I am.
All right. Gino, thank you so much again. Congratulations.
Yep, thank you.
That is Gino Caesar, the Westmoreland Sports Network Player of the Week for Week 2. We'll continue on Westmoreland on the Gridiron after this.
Score big with the Bowser family of dealerships featuring GMC, Buick, Cadillac, Subaru, Hyundai, and Nissan. Looking for a new car, truck, or SUV? Visit powerofbowser.com 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to find your perfect vehicle. Get the absolute best price and the best car buying experience anywhere. It's the power of the Bowser family of dealerships. Route 51 South on top of the hill.
The Chamber of Commerce for Westmoreland County is one of the largest chambers of commerce in the Commonwealth. We work on workforce development. We work on the county's comprehensive plan, economic development, transportation, and building businesses that affect our community.
Westmoreland County Chamber of Commerce, building business, connecting communities, and empowering everyone.
Have you or someone you know committed to play a sport at the next level? Let us know by emailing info@westmorelandsports.com so we can add you to our WSN College Commitment page. Our unique page features a list of current Westmoreland County student athletes that have made a verbal or written commitment to play a sport in college. No matter what sport at what level, our College Commitment page has you covered. Check it out next time you visit westmorelandsports.com.
This is how far we'll go to treat heart, lung, and vascular disease. 15 millimeters. At Excella Health, we believe less can be more. That's why we use minimally invasive surgery in the treatment of coronary artery disease, heart valve repair and replacement, lung cancer, and conditions of the peripheral arteries. For our patients, that means less blood loss, less post-operative pain, and a faster recovery. It means that a disease process that took decades to develop can, in a few hours, be reversed. And for us, it means providing the most advanced and sophisticated care for patients in our region. The Heart, Lung, and Vascular Institute at Excella Health. Expert care here.
Whether your goals include college education funding, retirement planning, generating income, or reducing taxes, at Hoffman Wealth Management, we've got you covered. We make it easy for you to make the right decisions by offering you access to a comprehensive array of investment products and wealth management strategies under one roof. One stop for all of your financial needs. Hoffman Wealth Management is committed to helping you pursue your goals. Stop in and speak with Hoffman Wealth Management. You'll be glad you did. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and Hoffman Wealth Management are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Hi, I'm Anthony D'Annunzio from D'Annunzio's Restaurants. Come visit us at one of our 3 locations, Jeanette, Monroeville, or Latrobe. We're open 7 days a week, so we've always got something cooking at D'Annunzio's. For our dine-in specials, Monday it's spaghetti. It's raviolis on Tuesday, lasagna on Wednesday, and on Thursday it's chicken parmesan or chicken romano. Visit us online at D'Annunzio'sRestaurant.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. D'Annunzio's Restaurants. It's a family tradition.
Your next golf adventure awaits at Manor Valley Golf Course in Export. Manor Valley offers 18 scenic holes over gentle sloping fairways and the purest putting surfaces around. Manor Valley Golf Course in Export is the perfect place to host your next golf outing, banquet party, or shower. Manor Valley also offers league play and great membership rates. Tee times available. Call 724-744-4242. Visit ManorValleyGC.com.
For more on Westmoreland County sports this fall, visit our website, westmorelandsports.com. While you're there, you can read news articles, view fall sports teams, rosters, and schedules, plus listen and watch archived broadcasts. Check out our website all season long. We'd love to have you. That's westmorelandsports.com.
The Westmoreland Sports Network is available on social media. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and like our page on Facebook for the latest Westmoreland County sports news, WSN broadcast links, scores, game stories, videos, pictures, and much, much more. Also be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for archived interviews and broadcast highlights. The Westmoreland Sports Network is available whenever and however you want it.
Good luck, Penn Trafford Warriors from Martin & Martin Tree Care in Claridge. Martin & Martin Tree Care serves the Penn Township community in Westmoreland County, handling tree removal, tree trimming, tree pruning, and stump grinding. For a free estimate, call 412-818-0417. That's 412-818-0417. Family-owned Martin & Martin Tree Care in Claridge. Proud to help keep the area beautiful.
It's not just a home or a car. It's the 6 months you saved for your Ultra HD flat screen, just in time for football season, and the overtime you worked for that third car, so your teen can drive himself to practice. While other insurance companies just see them as a bundle or combo, State Farm agent Alex Hetrick sees your home and car as things you work really hard for. Alex understands what your things really mean to you. Talk to State Farm agent Alex Hetrick in Murraysville for your home and auto insurance today.
The most incredible machine ever created didn't come with replacement parts. Until now. Rebuilding the human body takes skill, not just science. Some of the region's most accomplished orthopedists are right here at Excella Health. Our team of specialists are using non-surgical treatments, minimally invasive procedures, and the most sophisticated and complex surgical techniques to restore all aspects of human motion. All right. Whether you walk or fly. Orthopedics at Excella Health. Expert care begins here.
Every morning brings a new opportunity, a new chance to be great. But it's up to you to decide who you want to be. You can wake up and chase your dreams, or stay where you are and remain the same. You may fail over and over again, but the great ones keep pushing. The great ones do more. So, are you going to be great?
And welcome back to Westmoreland on the Gridiron. We thank Gino Caesar of the Hempfield area Spartans, voted as our player of the week. And if you want your team or your favorite player to win this, you have to get out there and vote. Stuff the ballot boxes, if you will, for next week. We'll have a player of the week each and every week. Again, it's determined by the fans' votes, but certainly very deserved for Gino this past week. Who will be the player of the week for week 3? We'll find out, but here are the games that we will be covering in some capacity here around Westmoreland County. We'll begin with the video broadcasts. Deer Lakes at Dairy area. Now, this is significant, Flick, because now that we're into week 3, we're going to start to get conference games, games that mean something towards the playoffs, so there's no more exhibitions for some of these teams, and that applies to the Lancers and the Trojans. And yet, Dairy area has gotten off to a rough start. That said, Deer Lakes is not a powerhouse team.
Right.
It's a conference matchup. You can kind of make a big step forward if you're the Trojans and you're able to hold serve here.
Yeah, I think this is a game that they can be competitive in. We'll see how it turns out.
Another game that's going to have a lot of eyes on it. No, it is not a conference game, but it is another heavyweight battle for Penn Trafford. The Warriors hosting the other PT, Peters Township. It's about a 7 o'clock start, kind of.
7-ish.
7:06, I believe, specifically. Yeah. We'll have video broadcast of that. Really looking forward to this one. I'll be on the call, but you look at two teams, it's a rivalry, albeit kind of forming recently just because of the great matchups they've had.
And last year, Penn Trafford turned the ball over, 7 times against Peters, and they only lost by 3 points, which is absolutely incredible that they were that close in that case. So, they're having revenge on their mind, not only from last year, but a couple of years ago when Peters Township beat them in the WPIAL playoffs. And it's also First Responders Night at Penn Trafford. And I know there's a lot of schools that do things like this, but at PT, it's really cool. They honor the veterans, the police, the paramedics, fire departments in Penn Trafford. And they always have a huge flag on a ladder of a fire truck that sits in the end zone, which is really neat to see. So I'm looking forward to that, too.
And they're doing their Hall of Fame.
That, too. It's not
honorees.
Athletics Hall of Fame. It's Football Hall of Fame that they started a few years ago. But John Ruane's excited about that, too, I know.
Another game that we will have a video broadcast of, Fox Chapel area at Franklin Regional, a chance for the Panthers to get back in the win column. That is another non-conference game. They are both in 5A. The Foxes 1-2 on the campaign. Hempfield area at Seneca Valley as the 6A ledger begins. The Spartans, they've won a couple of impressive games. Now we'll see if they're for real against 6A competition. Pretty good Seneca Valley team. 7:30 start time in that one. That will be an audio broadcast, as will Norwin at Pittsburgh Central Catholic. Do you know where the Vikings are playing that
Carnegie
game?
Mellon.
Yes, Gessling Stadium.
CMU.
Yeah, absolutely. They always have a different field. They kind of move around. They've been at Highmark. They'll play some games at Couples. I think they've played at the Wolverina. This one will be at Gessling Stadium down at Carnegie Mellon. Again, another conference game in 6A. And as you mentioned before, Flick, Riverview at Jeanette, a big night for the Jayhawks historically. We'll have an audio broadcast. That seems like a game that they got to win.
Yeah, they definitely. I'm sorry about that, Sean. I was looking up something on our poll for Facebook. But yeah, that's a game. I mean, hey, you have your Hall of Fame going on, and I know these kids really try their hearts out to try to win every single week. But, when you go up against a Riverview team that Jeanette historically has really taken care of business of and really gotten lopsided wins over, you're hoping that the Jayhawks can get a win tonight. Or not tonight, but Friday night.
Yeah, and that Eastern Conference, some of the teams that have been down over the years look to be a lot better. Springdale has taken some steps recently. Leechburg off to a great start. So when you look at the schedule, this one might be the one for the Jayhawks potentially to hold serve.
At least get some touchdowns, too. They haven't scored yet this season.
Absolutely. Looking to break that streak. Greensburg-Salem at Knock. Remember, it was a year ago that the Golden Lions got their 700th win at the expense of the Knock Knights. That will be a 7 o'clock start time in conference play. Belle Vernon area opens their ledger. I talked to Coach Humbert about this one. He knows it's going to be tough playing at West Mifflin. That's usually a pretty good Titans team. But It's hard to have any more momentum than what the Leopards have going into that one. South Allegheny at Southmoreland. That is a 3A conference matchup. A South Allegheny team that was pretty good a year ago looks to maybe be a little bit behind that pace from 2020. A chance for the Scotties to improve to 3-1. South Park at York, a Cougars team that has struggled so far here in 2021, as has Burrell playing at East Allegheny. North Catholic, one of the top teams each and every year in 3A, comes to Westmoreland County to play at Valley. Amani Christian at Greensburg Central Catholic, a 1A Eastern Conference matchup. We talk about Jeanette and looking at the opposition in the Eastern Conference, how things have seemingly got more difficult. Amani Christian's a hard team to gauge because it wasn't that long ago they were playing for a championship, but they just don't have the numbers that they did then. GCC with a chance to get things off on the right foot in terms of their conference slate.
I think this is a big game for Greensburg Central Catholic because of the fact that they can really set the tone for the rest of the conference season. And you're right, you really don't know what you're going to get from Amani Christian. I remember talking with Greg Bizignani, the basketball coach at GCC, about that. In any sport, you just don't know from year to year. Maybe even some points at week to week from Amani. Who's going to be on the roster and those types of things. So I think this is a great way for GCC to open up conference play. With the Centurions' victory.
And again, we're starting conference play here this upcoming weekend, but looking at the records in the Eastern Conference so far, it is bizarre to see how it's played out. There are 3 teams that are at 3-0. Bishop Canevin, Leechburg, and Springdale. Just like we all would have thought, right?
Absolutely.
The teams after that, Greensburg Central Catholic at 2-1, Amani at 1-1, and 3 teams that are winless. Riverview, okay, that's probably not a shock.
Yeah.
Jeanette and Clairton.
I don't know why you're so surprised, Sean.
It's almost like
you'd never see that
someone
ever again.
Played a prank and switched everything around.
Or whatever you're reading there, they did it wrong.
And again, you look at Greensburg Central Catholic. I think this could be their year to really contend for a conference championship.
I agree.
And they might not get this chance many years because usually Jeanette and Clairton are going to be at the top. I think it is their year potentially. They need to get off to a good start. Other games that take place around Westmoreland County, Monessen at Bentworth as the Greyhounds look for their second straight. And then some non-conference ones that I think are pretty interesting matchups. Mount Pleasant area at Greater Latrobe. That's 2 teams looking to bounce back. Of course, Latrobe, a 5A school, Mount Pleasant area, 3A. So you give the benefit there to the Wildcats as being a larger school. Connellsville area at Kiski area. They had a wild one last year that the Cavs ultimately won at the last moment. Fraser at Ligonier Valley. It's another home game for the Rams. They're almost never at home. They played at home just twice last year, opened their home slate last week. Now they get 2 in a row at home, and will have a chance to go to 4.
Franklin's another one of those teams. They haven't had many home games over the past couple of years. Yeah, they're home again this week.
There's been some quirks in the schedule. I think Albert Gallatin leaving hurt Franklin Regional the 1 year, and then everything was crazy last year with 2020. So, some home games, some home cooking always favors the team that finally gets to get in that comfort zone and play in front of their fans that maybe they haven't been able to play in front of nearly as much recently. Also, a couple of college games on the docket this week. One that we will have a broadcast of, a early start on Saturday, a TBS broadcast, 12:05 start. Seton Hill at Kutztown. That's a long trek.
It is.
To get out there.
I'm glad they're playing at noon.
Across the state. As we mentioned, Griffin's looking to go to 3-0. It's going to be a very significant test. However, and then St. Vincent opens PAC play, just their second game of the season. They will be hosting Geneva College Saturday, 1 o'clock start time. So we hope that our county college teams continue their success as well. Well, Flick, that's it for all of the slates of games that we have in Week 3. Anything else you would like to add?
I don't think so. I just want to remind everybody to check out our new website. And I know many people, obviously, that are watching the show right now have seen it, but maybe you haven't explored all the features of it. We have scores that we update throughout the week. And, of course, on Friday nights, the games are live scored. So, maybe not up to the second, but pretty darn close, where you can see scores from all of the games that we broadcast and all of the Westmoreland County football games. Just being able to look on your phone, on your computer, is something that we really wanted to bring to people to be able to get scores that quickly. Of course, our content as well. Sean does a fantastic preview. Every Friday we have it for you on our website, westmorelandsports.com. So if you're getting ready for the slate of football games, that's your first move. westmorelandsports.com. You'll see Sean's face on there too now, which is a great addition, by the way. You just click on that article and you're able to read the complete preview of all the games. So we just want to hope everybody stays healthy for a week 3 coming up this Friday.
Yeah, all 18 Westmoreland County high school teams are included now on the preview. Well, that'll do it for this edition of Westmoreland on the Gridiron. I want to thank our great guest, Matt Humbert of Belle Vernon area, and our player of the week from Hempfield area, Gino Caesar. We'll catch you again next Wednesday, 7 p.m. for Flick. Sean signing off right here on Westmoreland on the Gridiron.